Good day, grade 9s. I'm Mrs. Todd, and today's lesson will be about the atmosphere. In this section, we will be looking at the different layers of the atmosphere and what makes up the atmosphere, as well as the effects of what could occur if there is damage within our atmosphere. So let's start with what our atmosphere is. Our atmosphere includes all the air above the surface of the Earth all the way until space, and it contains a mixture of gases like nitrogen, oxygen, water vapor, and other gases like carbon dioxide. All of these gases are necessary in order for life to be held on Earth. With regards to the gases in our atmosphere, gas molecules in the atmosphere are kept close to the Earth by gravity. The effect of gravity means that there will be more gas molecules closer to the Earth's surface than there are further away. As you move further away from the surface of the Earth, the gas molecules become fewer, which means that density decreases, and the spaces between the molecules become larger, until there are no more molecules and only space left. When it comes to our atmosphere boundaries, the atmosphere does not have a set boundary, and it just fades away into space. The atmosphere is a very important part of Earth. It also keeps our planet warm, number 1, and protects us from harmful UV radiation from the sun, number 2. And it also ensures a healthy balance between oxygen and carbon dioxide so that life on Earth can be sustained. So let's have a look at the 5 layers that make up the atmosphere. With regards to each layer has a specific temperature gradient. The temperature gradient is how much the temperature would change with height above sea level, meaning altitude. In general, the higher we go, which means the higher the sea level and the higher the altitude, the colder it becomes. But within the stratosphere, we actually have an increase in temperature. So let's start with our first layer, the troposphere. The troposphere is the basis for cloud formation and weather patterns, and it is the main layer where aeroplanes fly in. Our second layer is the stratosphere. The stratosphere contains weather balloons that are able to gather information for scientists, as well as some aeroplanes are able to fly within the stratosphere. Our mesosphere is where the atmosphere reaches its lowest temperature. So here there is no increase in temperature, only a decrease. Within our thermosphere, this is where we'll find our most of our satellites and our international space stations. And our exosphere is our final layer, and it extends beyond the thermosphere and extends into space. So let's have a look at each layer in detail. Our first layer is the troposphere. Our troposphere extends from sea level to about 10 kilometers above the surface of the Earth. It contains more than 70% of the mass of the atmosphere with regards to particles being packed closest together, and with regards to the greatest density, meaning the number of particles. Specifically in the troposphere, the temperature decreases as the distance from the surface increases. And also in this layer, weather patterns and climate can be determined. What's important here with regards to the biosphere is that all animals and plants are found in this layer of the atmosphere with regards to our biosphere. Our second layer is the stratosphere. The stratosphere extends from about 10 kilometers to about 50 kilometers above the Earth's surface. The air in the stratosphere is very thin compared to the troposphere, and some aeroplanes are actually able to fly as high as the stratosphere. The stratosphere also includes a band of ozone gas, which is O3, and it's known as our ozone layer. Our ozone layer is responsible for absorbing ultraviolet radiation from the sun, which protects us from harmful UV rays. Our third layer is the mesosphere. The mesosphere extends from about 50 to 80 kilometers above the Earth's surface. The air is extremely thin and very cold, but there is still enough air in this layer to burn up small rocks and dust entering from space. The burning rocks, which are visible on Earth, are known as shooting stars. Here, they are able to burn up within this layer due to the air still being present. Our fourth layer is the thermosphere. Our thermosphere layer starts from about 80 kilometers above the Earth, but slowly diminishes at about 350 kilometers, and that is where space begins. Our satellites can orbit much further than that, but are mainly found within our thermosphere. The lowest part of the thermosphere absorbs ultraviolet radiation and dangerous X-rays from the sun, and it is also able to reflect radio waves back to Earth for TV and radio broadcasts due to the satellites that are orbiting within the thermosphere. Our final layer of the atmosphere is the exosphere. The exosphere is the uppermost part of the Earth's atmosphere as it gradually fades away into the vacuum of space. The air in the exosphere is extremely thin, and it forms an airless void into outer space. This is our final layer of the atmosphere and extends into space. Something which is extremely vital to us as humans living on Earth, as well as other living organisms, is the ozone layer. Ozone gas, which is O3, is found in the stratosphere, and it is made up of ozone molecules. Ozone plays an important role in absorbing harmful UV rays from the sun by forming, breaking down, and reforming oxygen molecules over and over again. When UV light reaches Earth, the possible detrimental effects of it could be that it could cause cancer, it could affect plant growth due to too much light intensity given to the plants, as well as affecting the life cycle of specific species. The absorption of ultraviolet radiation from the ozone layer increases the temperature in the stratosphere. As you can see in the diagram over here, our ozone layer over there, is responsible for absorbing any UV ray that comes towards Earth. Those rays that come through will then increase the temperature slightly within the stratosphere. An important process that needs to occur on Earth is called the greenhouse effect. The definition of the greenhouse effect is that it's a natural process that takes place on Earth, and it warms the atmosphere to an effective temperature to sustain life. Greenhouse gases like carbon dioxide, water vapor, and methane trap the ultraviolet radiation, which then warms the air closest to the surface of the Earth. But unfortunately, if we have an increase in greenhouse gases, this could lead to global warming. The greenhouse effect is a natural process which we need to occur, but an enhanced greenhouse effect could eventually lead to global warming, which is something we don't want to happen. Let's have a look then at what exactly global warming is. Global warming can be defined as an increase in the average temperature of the atmosphere due to the high amounts of greenhouse gases found in the atmosphere. Now, like we've just mentioned with the greenhouse effect is a natural process which we need to occur. But too many or too much greenhouse gases that are found in our atmosphere increases the temperature even further than what we would like in order to sustain life. Global warming is a problem on Earth, and it could possibly lead to climate change, which means climate and weather patterns become unpredictable in certain areas. It could lead to rising sea levels. This is mainly due to the melting ice caps, or the polar caps that are melting within our oceans, and it rises the sea levels that encroach onto our land. It could also lead to food shortages due to changing in weather patterns, which could lead to floods, or it could lead to droughts. These food shortages then create food insecurity amongst the population, which means we'll be unable to access our food. The fourth and possible detrimental effect of global warming is mass extinction. This means that a species will be unable to adapt to the changing climate and to the hotter conditions and would eventually die out. Global warming is something we are able to prevent from occurring if we control the amount of greenhouse gases that we emit into our environment. Our ozone layer will be able to protect us if we ensure that we limit the amount of greenhouse gases and air pollution that we emit into the environment. This is a possible way of us combating global warming. Thank you for attending my lesson, grade 9s. We'll see you for the next chapter.